What's going on, folks? Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and it's survey time. Recently, Wizards of the Coast released the Unearthed Arcana Draconic Options, which is amazing, and I love it, and it gave a much-needed boost to some races that needed it, and some fun new spells and feats. So the survey was released where we can leave our feedback and our whatever thoughts we have, and I like to do these videos where I fill out the survey and I make a video out of it. One, because it lets you know, hey, the survey's out there, and I encourage you to fill it out. For those of you who don't know, these surveys are used by Wizards of the Coast to determine whether or not, in some cases, in the older subclass series that they had done back before, like Xanathar's, whether or not anything even shows up in the final printing, or whether it gets tweaks when people complain, this is too powerful, this is too weak, things can be tweaked and adjusted. Now, maybe, you know, and that's how it's always been done, so I always encourage people to go out and fill out the survey and provide honest feedback about how they feel about it. Even better if you've gotten a chance to actually play any of these subclasses. Or, I'm sorry, not options, Draconic Options, rather. So, let's jump over to the website. You can see I'll put a link to this in the description. By the way, if you like this kind of stuff or just any of the content that I put out here, consider subscribing to the channel. We are approaching July, and my goal was to hit 100,000 by my birthday in July. Don't know if that's going to happen, but who knows. So anyway, we can scroll down here and we can see the link to the survey here, and then also the Unearthed Arcana itself. I have that open here just in case we need to reference it. So let's go ahead and click the survey. Would you like to rate the material? Yes. What was your first edition playing D&D? Third / 3.5, but they're so close, I always just say third. Before reading this, are you interested in playing any of the following? Okay, so we had the 3 different Dragonborn types. They all had pretty standard stuff. They got a resistance to a damage type. They got a breath weapon based on that same damage type, and then they all got something unique. The breath weapons pretty much remain the same. The only difference is cone or line with the damage scales accordingly, and they all get something interesting. So chromatic was the one that got you the opportunity to give yourself immunity to a damage type for a period of time. The metallic got a secondary breath weapon in either a push or a incapacitation breath weapon, and the gem dragonborn actually got something a little bit above and beyond. They got the telepathy and then flight. So if we go back and look at the survey, I'm not really interested in the chromatic Dragonborn. I'd say yes to the metallic, yes to the gem, and I didn't touch on the kobold, which is entirely a new version here. Still has dark vision, no sunlight sensitivity. Draconic roar, a lot of people seem to have issues with Draconic roar in that they said it's like a lesser version of beg, grovel, and cower, or whatever it was called, or in some ways like a pack tactics. I'm okay with it, and I don't have this in my head. I don't always think of kobolds as sniveling, cowardly creatures. I enjoy that they gave them a roar that does this kind of stuff. And then Draconic Legacy here. Personally, I think I might have allowed all of these, possibly, or had them scale, or like... Definitely, if I was a DM and a player was playing this version of the Kobold, I would probably have them gain access to these 3 abilities just over time. Not all at level 1, but you know, you get one, you pick one, and then maybe at level 3 you pick another one, and then at level 5 you get the final one, something like that. But yes, I'm interested in that Kobold. How important is your choice of race option during character creation to you? So I'm going to say it's important. And I've said this before, but I'll bring it in for those who don't know. So I grew up in a min-maxy culture, right? That's how I've always viewed D&D. I live in it. That's how I started. So it's hard for me to not see it in that lens. I, in some instances, envy folks who live in the world of, you know, I want to make my character because I want to make my character. And I'm not saying that I don't do that. It's just typically when I would do that, I would choose something that was most optimal to me. Tasha's Cauldron of Everything really opened everything up for me because now I can play races that I normally wouldn't play with a class that I normally wouldn't play it with because I have that freedom. So to me, race is important, but it's not as important as other things. I think as long as I'm going to have fun, that's the most important thing to me. That I won't be bored, right? So as long as I have enough options and versatility, that when I'm critically thinking in combat or even out of combat, that I have things to do. And maybe I'll make a video about something else that triggered in my head. All right, have I play tested the rules for creating my character? Now, this is the concept of, the just standard stuff you have, right? So that's your ability scores are either +2, +1, +1 to 3 stats, language, and then the creature type. Have I play tested those rules? I'm going to say yes. I've made characters for one-shots using those rules, so I'll say yes. How satisfied am I with it? I'm going to say I'm very satisfied across the board. I enjoy the freedom that it gives. The only thing I'm going to say is I really like the freedom it allows me. My only complaint is when dual typing is used for creature type. I understand, I believe what the reasoning is behind this, but all I see is detriments. All right, moving on. Okay, have I play tested the Chromatic Dragonborn? No. I'm satisfied with it. Chromatic Ancestry, sure. Breath Weapon, sure. Draconic Resistance. I'm just gonna say I'm satisfied across the board. I'm gonna say I can't find anything that I really dislike about the Chromatic Dragonborn, but I also can't find anything that I like enough about it to want to play it. Okay. I play tested Metallic Dragonborn. No. I'd say I'm very satisfied. Ancestry is satisfied. Breath Weapon, satisfied. Draconic Resistance, satisfied. And I'm very satisfied with the Metallic Breath Weapon. I don't really have much to say. Here. I like it a lot. No, I have not tested the Gem Dragonborn. Satisfied. I'm actually going to say I'm very satisfied with the Breath Weapon and the Resistance, because it gives you options to get resistances you normally wouldn't be able to have. And then I'm satisfied with all of these, really. This was a surprise. Official 5e Gem Dragons. And I'd love to see more. I hope this is a teaser of future dragon-based content, giving us 5e stats for all Gem Dragons. I play tested the Kobold. No. I'm just very satisfied with this one across the board. The only thing I'm going to say is, what is it called? Draconic Legacy. I'd like to see the Kobold gain access to all Draconic Legacy features, perhaps over time with level ups. How interested am I in playing these races in the future? I'll say slightly interested in the Chromatic Dragonborn, interested in the Metallic Gem, and very interested in the Kobold. Okay, next. Do you use feats when playing D&D? Yes. Have I play tested these feats? No. How satisfied are you with the Gift of the Chromatic Dragon feat? Which is the one that gives you an extra little bit of damage. When you take damage, you can give yourself resistance. I'm dissatisfied. It is clearly the weakest of the 3 feats. All it does is replicate the elemental weapon spell and absorb elements, but with less frequency. Okay. Gift of the Metallic Dragon. Cure Wounds. Alright, we'll say. Let's say it says the spellcasting ability is Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma. When you cast it with this feat, choose when you gain the feat. You manifest the Protective Wings. When you or another creature you can see within 5 feet is hit by an attack roll, you can use your reaction to manifest the wings, roll a d4, grant that bonus to the target's AC, equal to the number rolled against the attack roll, potentially causing it to miss. You can use this reaction proficiency bonus times, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Alright, so I'm going to say I'm satisfied with this. I love the inclusion of the wording. Where is it? You can also cast this with spell slots that you have. I'd love to see old feats and features for races to be updated to have the same language. Let's see. Gift of the Metallic Dragon. Alright. So, I really like the aesthetics. Spell aesthetics correctly. Aesthetics of the protective wing / shield feature. And I like that it can be used on allies. I do wish it was either a static number, proficiency bonus equal to the modifier of the equal to intelligence, wisdom, or charisma saving throw modifier. Same as chosen for Cure Wounds. Okay. How am I satisfied with the Gift of the Gem Dragon feat? Okay. So this it says, increase your intelligence, wisdom, or charisma by 1. When you take damage from a creature within 10 feet of you, creature that dealt damage must make a strength save. Or take 2d8 force damage and be pushed 10 feet away from you. You can use this reaction a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus and regain all uses when you finish a long rest. I'm going to say I'm satisfied. I really like getting access to retributive damage. However, I think it should be half damage on a successful save. I love seeing new feats. I'd honestly buy a book of just feats. We're going to talk about the spells. Have I play tested the spells? No. How satisfied am I with Draconic Transformation? 7th level spell. Blind sight out to 30 feet. Incorporeal Wings. When you cast a spell and as a bonus action on subsequent turns, exhale a shimmering breath weapon, 30-foot cone, 3d8 force damage. And it's a bonus action, and to cast this spell is also a bonus action. I'm going to say I'm satisfied with it. Feats, I'm going to say, I don't know if 7th level seems too high. I'll say that. At first glance, I feel 7th level may be too high for this. And who can cast this spell? Okay, as I say, it should be on the druid list, so. Okay. Fizzband's Platinum Shield. Okay, Shimmery Shield of Force. The shields, let's see. Subsequent turns, you can move the shield to another character that have half cover, resistance to acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison damage. And if they're subjected to an effect that makes dexterity saving throw for half, no, I really like this one. It gives a lot of stuff. I'm going to say I'm satisfied. My only concern is the availability of the material component, which is a Platinum Dragon Scale. So, how satisfied am I with Flame Stride? Okay, Flame Stride. Yeah, when you leave the fire trail when you run. I really like that. Gonna say satisfying. Think this should be a druid spell as well. Frost, Icing Death's Frost. This is a 30-foot cone, 3d8 damage. Okay, I'm gonna say slightly satisfied. I will say it should be on Druid and Warlock's spell list, which I do stand behind. Nather's Magical Mischief, or whatever it's called. This is the one that has the cube that can do a variety of different goofy fun things. Bard, Sorcerer, Wizard. I'm just gonna say I am satisfied. Ralotham's Psychic Lance. I'm satisfied. I think it's good, but I think it could use... I think there's some interesting... People have brought up issues, I feel like. Because it says that the spell slot's not expended if you speak someone's name and they're out of range, but if you attempt to cast this at someone that you can see, the spell slot is still expended. And it's no damage on a successful save. So I'm going to say I've seen a lot of confusion about the wording. So if it's cleaned up, I think good. And then we have Summon Draconic Spirit, which I'm satisfied. It fits within the realm of all the other ones. Again, similar to Feats, I'd buy a new book with just new spells in it. And then lastly, additional comments. Are you going to go back and update the PHB Dragonborn? I assume these will be variant rules, but what about the Kobold? We saw changes to orcs with Tasha's Cauldron and Eberron/Wildmount. Will you be overhauling Kobolds completely? I'll say, lastly, even though it's 6 years later, I'm glad we can all agree that Dragonborn were underpowered and definitely needed some love. Submit. There we go. I have a lot of opinions about this Unearthed Arcana because it really helps to validate in my mind. I mean, maybe I could be wrong. Like I said, it might just be variant rules that you can choose to use or not. I don't know if they're going to hard errata the previous books, but I think it really does validate the fact that things that a lot of us have been saying for years, Dragonborn need love, they're not as good as the other races. Kobolds got the short end of the stick as the only race that had like one at a point, one of the only races with a negative stat, and they had only a +2 to 1 ability score and then also a negative, and then they removed the negative and just left it as the only race with just a +2 in 1 ability score and then nothing else. So I'm glad to see the changes here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Please do go fill out the survey. No, I'm not affiliated with Wizards of the Coast. I just love 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, and I want to see the version that we all ideally want become a thing. And the only way we can basically the only avenue we have to provide any feedback to Wizards of the Coast is these surveys. So take the opportunity to say what you need to say and get it out there, because we really don't have any other avenue for that. So 6 years late, is it too late? I don't think so. I think it's, I hope, like I said, one of the biggest things I'd love to see is a change to the wording of all racial-based spells and abilities that let you cast a spell, to add the language that all new ones have that say you can cast this spell with spell slots if you have them, because that really helps just increase how much. That'll definitely add to variety, right? If you could play a race that has access to a spell, let's say you're playing a tiefling, right? And you have access to Hellish Rebuke, or you're a variant tiefling of some kind, you have access to Burning Hands, right? Well, now you could be a paladin who normally wouldn't have AoE, but you have Burning Hands from being a tiefling, and now you can use your spell slots for Burning Hands if you wanted to, rather than Spiting. But what I'm saying is it would give you that, rather than like, well, I could do that once a day and that's it. Now I just have this essentially on my spell list, which is pretty cool. So anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and I will see you all next time.